Welcome back. This is Stacy Harder, and I am reading Chapter 11 of Many Were Called, Few Were Chosen. This is Chapter 11, Removing the Veil. Reawakening the memory of the Earth mission is an important task for the Earthian volunteers. This process has been referred to as removing the veil. The veil is an invisible separation between physical existence and other dimensions. This veil also separates humanity from the memory of all that is. It allows humans to think that their life is independent of other God force creations. The veil is what causes humanity to feel that in all of the universe, they alone are the only intelligent beings. This wasn't always the way it was on Earth. Humanity once had the ability to see and hear those of different dimensions. As Earthians encountered these beings, they often thought them to be gods. They began to worship these visitors instead of trying to reunite with the one true God force. The more the Earthians worshipped these beings, the more difficult it became to reconnect with the Radiant One. They saw these new gods as a means of great wealth and other abundance that a god could provide. These new gods had come from the heavens, and humanity knew this to be the residence of the God force. Like humans originally could, many of these dimensional beings had the ability to manifest physical form into anything desired. This excited the Earthians who had lost this ability. They worshipped the gifted visitors as gods that thought they were not. Many brothers and sisters from the heavens came to visit Earth. It was, after all, unique in all the universe. Some visitors came to Earth to be of service to the God force, others to satisfy their curiosity, and still others to study physical existence, and a few for personal gain. The vast majority of these visitors from space tried to help Earthians. Therefore, they refused to allow humans to worship them. These visitors instead tried to teach Earthians about their own abilities and the source of all abilities. Sometimes the Earthians would listen and sometimes not. The visitors who came for personal gain rather enjoyed being gods, so they allowed and even encouraged those silly Earthian creatures to act so foolishly. Humanity became willing servants to what they perceived as great ones. Earthians had to have a god. If they could not reconnect to the only true God force, then any god would do, for they still had the memory of this connection etched in their subconscious mind, and they longed to experience it once again. The visitors to Earth who were attempting to help humanity were upset with the ones who attempted to take advantage of the Earthians. They asked for intervention on behalf of humanity. Thus, the veil was placed over the perception of humanity, limiting the Earthians' perception of those of different frequencies. This veil allowed Earthians to be influenced only by their own kind, those who shared a similar vibrational existence. Earth and the Earthians had been placed in a planetary state of isolation. Earthians were no longer able to coexist with the heavenly siblings. It was felt that for Earth's own good, it should no longer have open contact with other members of the universe. No longer could they worship the visitors from space because they could no longer perceive them. However, free will was still the law. Therefore, if the Earthians asked for or raised their vibration significantly to achieve this awareness, they could pierce the veil and the illusion that they were the only intelligent creations of the God force. Earthians could again become aware of the higher dimensions that were their destiny. The choice was still theirs. The veil caused a separation in consciousness between Earthians and many other planets, universes, and life forms. This was a quarantine of sorts, but needed. If humanity was to learn to once again turn toward the God source for direction and inspiration. But now it is a time once again for Earthians to take their place in the family of God. The veil is being thinned in preparation for its removal. The space brothers and sisters who were concerned for the well-being of the Earth and Earthians did not vacate the planet simply because they were no longer seen. Most found new ways to serve the living light and Mother Earth because they cared not if they were noticed or appreciated. Some dimensional beings took on animal forms, where they could lower their vibrations, thus allowing Earthians' perception. As animals, these visitors could again reawaken humanity to the love that was its salvation. As animals, they could also closely monitor Earthians' progress without interference. They could assist, yet not disturb, divine will. They were also still free from the karmic cycle of Earth, and they could and would not get entrapped by the Earthian world of illusion. Think of the creatures of Earth. Think now of the ones that cause your heart to sing and resonate to love and joy. Think of the ones who remind you of God's beauty and wisdom. Many on Terra recognize the specialness of the dolphins and whales, but miss the divine intelligence found in the more common creatures. Could these be brothers and sisters from other dimensions? Some space friends choose to maintain their own life form and assist from their own dimension. They could not influence people directly because that was forbidden. So again, they could not influence people directly because that was forbidden, but they could assist humanity indirectly. They chose to stand guard in the sky and protect the earth from the lower vibrational energy rays. They serve to keep the frequencies in harmony and balance. These alien friends have always been with Earth. They play many roles. They assist in stabilizing the Earth and helping humanity through earthly changes and natural disasters. In these disaster situations, they may remove and then replace Earthians in the twinkling of an eye, always by Earthian invitation. Earthians later tell how, by the grace of God, they were saved. Truly, this is correct, for those friends do radiate the grace of God. These alien volunteers stand ever ready to share light and love with Earth and the Earthians. They too are members of the light family, but they choose not to enter into physical existence, feeling they can make a more important contribution to the well-being of Earth in their own way. These alien friends will often communicate when there is an Earthian desire to do so and when it serves the greater purpose. They have much to share with humanity. Always their goal is to bring Earthians into higher vibrations so all can radiate the love vibration. When there is desire and need on the part of humanity, the alien crafts can be seen. This is possible because the space brothers and sisters have the ability to lower the vibrational frequency of themselves and their crafts for a period of time, making them visible to the human eye. Earth-based volunteers often dream of being on board spacecraft. These are not dreams, but rather remembrances of non-physical visits for the purpose of instruction and or preparation. As Earthians and the Earth-based volunteers raise their vibrations, more and more contacts are being made. As each vibrational rate becomes stabilized at a higher level, Earthians no longer tremble with the fear when they see the spacecrafts emerge from the clouds, as fear is the last thing these light workers wish to induce. As greater numbers of Earthians are at peace with the idea of having alien assistance, then many more friends from other dimensions will become apparent. But Earthians need to be aware that not all space brothers and sisters are working for the light and love of the Radiant One. Some, like people on Earth, work for personal power and control. Humanity must be ever on the guard against these, for they too can and do influence humanity with less than positive results. Asking the God source for the gift of discernment is all that is needed, for what is asked for is given. Discernment gives the power of determining what is of the highest light and what is not. Discernment allows earthians to separate truth from illusion, sincerity from fraud, and God's will from personal motive. The aliens fall into two broad categories: those who work on behalf of the light and those who do not. Those who work on behalf of the light dedicate their existence to serving the God essence. Those who do not serve the light choose to serve personal needs and desires. They are referred to as those of lesser light. It is not meant as a judgment, but as a term of recognition. Those who are the light recognize their unity with all that is. Therefore, they serve the greater whole. Those who serve the light are always in tune with the God source and follow the will of God. They take action based on divine guidance and not personal gain. They recognize that all are one, and what affects one affects all. Those of lesser light fail to recognize their unity with all that is. Therefore, they serve their own needs above all others. Those of lesser light may be well intentioned and truly feel that they can solve many of the problems that humanity faces. They choose to make the decisions for Earthians, therefore violating the free will of others. They feel it's best to do unto others before they can do it to them. They can take control only when Earthians allow and cooperate or surrender their free will. However, Earthians are usually quick to surrender their precious gift of free will. Again, be reminded that the lesser lights are easy to recognize if you but go within and ask for discernment. Then trust the inner knowing. The lesser lights can be very tricky and deceptive, so it is wise to always ask for discernment. Feel their vibrations. Do they radiate the love and light of the God force? Listen to their words. Are they giving you a cookbook approach to all that you desire? A sure sign of a lesser light is the amount of control they wish to have over others. They feel they know the best answers and the best plan of actions. Therefore, they will tell humanity what to do and say. They never honor free will and the Earthian's divinely given right to make choices and to even mistakes. The lesser lights do not wish you harm. They, like a well-meaning parent who wishes to dictate the actions of his or her adult child, refuse to honor the unique life choice of the Earthians. So too do these lesser light beings feel they are serving the planet. Be ever aware that no one serves the Earth Mother by violating the heart of her nature. Free will is the nature and the very heart of this planet and must be honored by all, regardless of the circumstances or possible outcomes. An alien who serves God will give you alternatives and warn you of the possible outcomes of your actions, but will always suggest that you go within and listen to your God source, which alone knows your best path. Those working on behalf of the living light will always build your confidence in your inner guidance and connection to the God source. If you should have an encounter with an alien or a non-physical being, and you are not sure of the alien's intention, there are many things you can do. It is wise to remember that you are in charge and you must be obeyed. If you are in doubt of their motivational source, just ask. All things and all beings are from the one God source, but not all use the same God source as a motivation for their actions. So those who come in the light and love will always tell you that they come in light and love because they wear the vibration as a badge of honor. Those who do not come in the light and love cannot lie, as it is forbidden by universal law. So when you ask, do you come in light and love? They must answer truthfully. They can, however, ignore the question, responding with another question, like, why are you asking me that? Don't you know who I am? Etc. And they can change the topic or otherwise evade your question. These behaviors are allowed as are not direct lies, so be ever aware of tricky and evasion. Those of lesser lights are very skilled at it. Your best choice in this situation is to keep repeating the question. If they have not given you a straight answer by the third time you ask the question, then no matter how helpful they seem or how many gifts they bear, send them away with light and love. Sample wording might be, if you do not come in light and love, then you are to leave me immediately and you are never to return. Repeat this 3 times, as there is a great power in 3. You have the power to send them away, and they must obey you because you have chosen to operate in the physical world and they have not. This is your right, for it is your world. You do not need to entertain beings who are not for your highest and best good. They must obey you, for it is your free will that is allowed on earth. They can influence you only if you allow. Because of their ability to manifest what is wanted by the Earthians, some on Earth now cooperate with aliens of lesser lights. The risks far outweigh any possible benefits. Sometimes their influence can be perceived to help because they meet our most basic needs. There was a story in a magazine about a small European town that was visited by aliens. At first, those in town were frightened of their presence. Then the aliens proceeded to heal all people who were sick. The people rejoiced, and then the aliens showed their residents how to heal the sick. So the residents of this town cured anyone and everyone they could think of, and so it went. The people of this town were given everything they needed. Their benevolent aliens worked hand in hand with the people, or so it seemed. Who do you think made decisions and controlled the town? Only those who allow it can be controlled. Assuming the story is true, it brings to mind the tale of a New England fish village. The fish processing plant in the little village would throw all the scraps to the pelicans rather than waste them. The pelicans enjoyed the treat, but eventually the fishing market dried up and the plant closed. The people were amazed when the pelicans began to starve. It seemed the pelicans had forgotten how to fish their own food and had become dependent upon the scraps. Now they were dying as a result of this dependency. A smart villager thought to add some wild pelicans to the dependent pelicans, and sure enough, it worked. The wild pelicans went out each morning to fish, and the dependent ones eventually followed and learned again how to fish for themselves. Does this story remind you about the entry of the Earth-based volunteers to this dear planet? A person or group of people who take care of all your needs will cause dependency. Dependency leads to surrender of control. Life may become challenging at times, but as long as Earthians scratch for their own existence, they are independent and in control of their own fate. One person who resist that control can often teach others how to break the chains. Behaviors leading to control are seductive, enticing others to give up their free will. It is far more effective than war and violence because people are given trivial choices to lead them to believe they retain control. The aliens in the European town are training the residents to be dependent on an outside source rather than rely on their own abilities. They may or may not have ulterior motives and less than honorable intentions. It matters not, for the outcome will be the same. These people are becoming controlled and manipulated by others. These aliens stepped in and healed the residents apparently without being asked or receiving permission. That is interference and in violation of free will. It is sometimes hard to accept that illness serves humanity, but it does. Illness can cause great growth and wisdom, and it is always the choice of the sick person, either consciously, subconsciously, or at a higher level of consciousness. Sickness can also be a result of choices made while on Earth. Only an alien of lesser light would step into a physical world and alter Earthian choice without being asked to do so. When the man Jesus walked this earth, he had the power to heal, but he healed only those who came to him and asked him, or when a parent of a child under age 13 asked on behalf of the child. He could have healed all leprosy and blindness and other such burdens to the day, but he did not. He respected and honored free will. Dependency and the abdication of free will are the eventual outcomes of relationship with beings of lesser lights. Their only desire is to control and manipulate your thoughts and words and actions. Sometimes they feel they can help humanity more this way, and sometimes it is because they desire to control. But always the outcome is the same. Beware of anything or anyone who wishes to tell you what to do or say and nibbles away at your free will. Once the alien of lesser light are in cooperation, the Earthians often fear breaking away from them, feeling trapped and helpless. Guilt seems them or keeps them from turning to the God force for assistance. But these Earthians have nothing to fear, for God has freely given them choice. All they must do is choose to work in harmony with the divine will, which is always in harmony with light and love. Many governmental leaders are trapped today because of the fear of breaking away and the fear of public opinion in their relationship with those of lesser light were made known. Or if their relationship with the lesser lights were made known. The lesser lights encourage Earthians to judge because they know it is a powerful tool for control. When attempts are made to break away from the lesser lights, Earthians are threatened with a scandal. The fear of public judgment keeps them subdued even when it is not in their best interest. As those on Mother Earth turn away from fear and judgment, those tools of control will become useless. As the Earthians turn to unconditional love and acceptance of our path of others, the more all will be able to stand in their personal power, free from the control of others. Earthians can ask for divine protection from these alien forces and visualize themselves and all Earth surrounded by the radiant light of the divine intelligence. This will act as a shield against anything that the aliens of lesser light could do. No power exists that can match the power of God. Fear not, for fear opens the door to those lower vibrations. Fear allows those lesser lights to penetrate the light. Those who desire the light must know that by fearing, they have chosen to cooperate with the lesser lights. But it is the Earthians' God-given right to choose again, to cooperate only with the most divine, most loving source of all. A space brother or sister who is working on behalf of the God essence will applaud this decision to work only for the light and love of God. A space brother or sister working on behalf of their own gain will curse, condemn, ridicule, threaten, or try to persuade you not to change your choice or to change your choice. Remember, the choice is yours. All must allow your choice to prevail. And just as the loving Father waited with outspread arms for the prodigal son, so too does the God force wait for those who, in their past, have chosen to work cooperatively with the lesser lights. The Earth-based volunteers have come from many universes to serve Mother Earth and the God force. So too have their brothers and sisters of space. This heavenly body of being guards the skies on behalf of Mother Earth and the creator of all that is. These beings have chosen to act as the messenger of God essence. These heavenly guardians of other dimensions have been given many names throughout Earthian history, though they are most often referred to as angelic hosts or angels. If those of Earth could not send love and open their hearts to the truth, the veil would be discarded. And we at last could meet our heavenly guardians. The family of God would once again be united. Let me read that again. If those of earth could but send love and open their hearts to the truth, the veil would be discarded, and it would be the last could meet our at last could meet our heavenly guardians, the family of God, once again be united. Alas, as long as fear and judgment are humanity's response, our heavenly helpers shall remain cloaked in the clouds, hidden by the stars, and waiting for Earthians to open their hearts to the truth of all that is. The Earth-based volunteers have given up their connection with the oneness in order to serve the God Force and Mother Earth. They willingly chose to enter and re-enter the Earth's vibration to show humanity how to lift themselves into the loving arms of the waiting God presence. These volunteers continue to work for the hour is near when they shall complete their earthian responsibility and again return home. Home to a vibrational existence at one with all that is. No longer will Mother Earth be plagued with the world divided by good and bad, me and you, us and them, right and wrong. The world of duality will give way to a world of unity. A hero's welcome awaits the volunteers who work on behalf of Terra. But now they face the most demanding aspect of this mission. They must fully awaken to their specific task and then, with loving hearts, complete their mission. All of the Earth-based volunteers feel some hesitation and trepidation, for most have experienced ridicule, failure, torture, and even death in past lives as a result of unknowing Earthians who labeled them heretics, zealots, and lunatics. Still, they move forward to the front lines to take their place in the history books of planet Earth. They shall prepare the Earthian vibrations for a smooth, loving transformation or transition to a new day, or else assist humanity to see the loving, wondrous perfection in the not so smooth process of Earth's purification. Either way, they shall assist Earthians to feel joy and love in their hearts when destruction and chaos meets their eye. They shall open the hearts and minds of humanity to a much vaster universe than it is now ready to accept. In its infancy, humanity felt that the universe was anything it could touch. As the infant grew to toddlerhood, its universe opened to all that could be seen and reached. As the toddler grew, its world expanded to include the house, then the neighborhood, then the block, and then the school and community. Finally, an awareness of the nation and the world was formed, even though they could not be immediately seen. For the first time in known history, the current Earthians have viewed Earth from afar via space satellites. Now, the time is here for humanity to finally recognize that the universe is indeed vast, and Earth and Earthians are but one small aspect of it. It is time to know and accept that there are universes beyond universes that can contain intelligent life forms now eagerly awaiting the Earthian changes. It is time for Earth and humanity to again learn to live in harmony with all that is. It is time for humanity to reunite with its heavenly family. All of the Earth-based volunteers know the hour is close, for they feel it as an urgency, even though they may not understand these feelings. The volunteers who have already awakened to the mission are sounding an alarm for all Earthians and their fellow volunteers to rise and to get about God's business. And that concludes chapter 11. The next chapter 12 is Understanding the Nature of Mother Earth. Thank you for listening. Feel free to subscribe and share, and welcome on this journey of our magical existence in this human body. If you're joining me, this is actually my mother's book. She wrote around 30 years ago. So it's a perfect book for this moment in time. I love you. You are lovable. You are beyond magical. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for being here. And thank you for all that you are. With love and light, I'll see you again soon. If you'd like to order the book, you can go to heatherharder.com. Thank you.